What is going on, guys? Judo Sloth here, and welcome to today's Clash of Clans video featuring the BoWitch attack strategy at Town Hall 10. We're going to cram in as many tips and tricks as we can to this video and try and guide you through exactly how you want to be using this strategy. All of the attacks are by Elite Gaming in our CWL win over JOff. Elite Gaming getting the perfect war. If you do want to join us at the highest level in Clash, make sure to check out the Discord link down in the description of this video. We have 4 attacks for you today, so do not worry about it. Hopefully it will become clear at the end, but with the BoWitch attack strategy, it really has become a little bit more viable with the use of the wall wrecker. What you need to ensure is that your ballers in the center of the base get access through the base and can actually get to the defenses. I know that sounds simple, guys, but you will see that in the next few attacks. What you also need to make sure is that your ballers and witches on the outside of the base are well protected. In this case, we use a couple of healers just at the top side of the base, and what that does is ensure that the troops on the outside are safe. As long as there's no air defense in that region, you should be good with that method. Now, what you need to try and do is get your ballers in the middle to access both of the Inferno towers. You need to protect your queen, because quite often, coming down to the final parts of the attack, she is going to be what finishes off the raid, as you see in this example, and holding on to that ability is priceless. Let's get into a base that is a little bit more tricky for the bowler witch combination, and we'll explain why that is. So getting into this one, just think about the pathing of the bowlers and witches. Now, especially at this kind of tier 1 level, if you will, the bowler witch combination is something that is tried to be defended against. So the Teslas in the corner aim to snipe off a couple of them witches. Then you'll notice the pathing over to the right hand side here. It's going to try and draw the troops into that side, and they're actually going to take significant damage, but there's only one air defense and it's right at the end of the base. So again, a couple of healers can actually counteract that. Getting through the base isn't as big of an issue. The wall wrecker is obviously going to be used, and it's quite nice that the town hall is to the north of the base, because it does mean that the bowlers and witches, although they're more vulnerable on the left here because we don't have any healers due to there being air defense in that area, the troops are naturally going to migrate their way over in that direction to try and help out the witches on the outside, because the wall wrecker is going in that area. Meanwhile, the jump spell in the middle continues to provide access to that right hand side of the base, and you can see how still the queen has that ability. You want to get your troops in early enough to protect that queen. So actually what you're doing with the funnel is setting that up with the bowlers and witches themselves. They are going to create the funnel naturally. That's why you start off on the perimeter on the outside of the base. You'll see that in each and every one of these attacks with bowlers and witches in the corners, in order to funnel the buildings at the side and move around the base so that the rest of the troops can come through the middle of the base itself. And again, the queen being a ranged troop, she tends to stand back a little bit, so as long as you get them troops in quick enough, you should be good to protect her. Now, a few giants is critical. Said that a bunch of times, guys, but you do need quite a few of them actually, just enough to create that funnel. Most of the time you're gonna want around about 6. 2 on either side and 2 in the middle, roughly. They will migrate if there's any mortars on the outside. That can be to try and mess up the witches in terms of splash, but also hiding giant bombs. It just depends on the base itself. You can often work out where them giant bombs will be. Again, you can see no air defense on that right hand side, so we are going to protect the bowlers and witches as best as possible. Might as well let them get that value in order to come around the side. And then the pathing through the middle is created with not only the wall wrecker but the jump spell as well. Now think about this. He lets the troops batter through this initial wall. Now the reasoning for that is there is still a lot of them tanking, and had he have jumped that compartment, he'd have been stuck in the middle with all of these other defenses shooting at the bowlers and witches. You've no idea how quick they will go down. That's why access through the entire base itself is critical. Make sure you are thinking about that. If your wall wrecker's not getting that distance, you need to think about the jump spell. But again, thinking about access to them infernos, that is what's going to roast your troops and potentially ruin your attack. You do need to be getting direct access to it. Again, we have provided access over to that side of the base where the witches will start to fizzle out, and the healers on the bottom side definitely help the witches before amazingly being the OP troops and swapping across to the queen. You do tend to find this towards the end of the attacks. They will start to fizzle out a little bit. Do not forget about them freeze spells. You might have seen the Frozen Witch combination. It's definitely something to consider. Do you need plenty of freeze spells in order to freeze them single infernos? The splash damage all depends on what is mainly in the middle of the base. So again, coming over from that method, you can see the giants, then the bowlers and witches right across that side of the base. Notice how for instance, if we focus on this area, the bowlers and witches have naturally funneled that corner. Now we have a section that will come down the side of the base. Meanwhile, the rest of them merge in the middle to go through the base. That's the basic premise of it. Use your spells pretty early on as well. This tends to be the best way to do it. Rage spell is you're initially pushing into the base. That's when you're going to encounter the CC, probably getting an Inferno locking on you, and that's when you have most of the bowlers. You need to try and give them that value. Heal spells are fantastic as well to keep the bowlers alive because they do take a lot of hits, especially from giant bombs and things like that. So you might even consider a couple of heal spells, and again, in the core, try and get that area raged up because your bowlers shooting outwards through the core can often bounce onto buildings on the back end. You can see it's not going to happen there, but it was an example of how they bounce through. And again, you're then relying on your bowlers and witches coming around the side and the queen to get the job done. But you need access through the base with the jump spells. You need to, as a minimum, get the core down so that the defenses on the perimeter at the back end can then be reached by the bowlers, witches and queen coming around the base itself. I hope that one has helped you guys. Make sure to drop any other tips for the BoWitch method down in the comments section, and again, smash that like button if this video has indeed helped you. I have been your host, Judo Sloth. Until next time guys, peace out.